there's nobody here.
Right.
That's better. Welcome to week 11 of the OrkneyBowl. I must have hit the wrong button, and we showed you the intro, didn't actually start the bloody show. But yes, so like I said before, we didn't go online. We have got one trade in our division, but you've not seen it yet, so it'd be nice live reaction when the time comes. But how's it going today?
Yes, I'm very well, Johnny, and so we can absolutely confirm that wasn't technical issues, that was user issues.
Yeah, that was user issues. I've only just put it onto the platform and obviously hit the wrong button.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, it's week 11. Week 10's in the bag now. We've got 3 weeks to go, so a lot of divisions will be taking shape. And hey, there's Everett. How you doing, sir? Not seen you in a while. Hope everything's good. Yeah, so it's home straight time now. You know, it's 3 games to go in the season. This is the point where you can't really, if you're in it, then you've got to be winning. You know, if you've got a chance at the playoffs, this is a time where a loss makes a huge difference to your season.
Cool. And I did actually say that when we didn't actually start, but the season has flown by. And the fact we're already in starting week 12, it's just bloody scary. Hey, Arthur's here too. How's it going, Arthur?
It's great. It's crazy how far along we are now. It's it flies in every year, Johnny. You know, it's feel like we're just getting started and we're getting to the end of the season. You know, so you got to enjoy it while it lasts. And of course, it is a year-round thing as well now, because as soon as the season finishes, we're all starting to talk about dynasty trades and getting those teams set, and then it's the best balls start going because everyone's itching, wanting a draft, and before you know it, we're back round and it's 2026 is starting all over again. You know.
We're trying not to jinx you, Arthur, sorry. Can you see them in the bottom there?
Yeah, I can see the chats coming in the bottom, yeah.
It's got a nice little one.
A little bit. I can see them better in the comment section, though. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the leagues are looking now, Johnny. You know, it's... I think
there's one or two taking shape, but there's still a lot to play for. I think there's still one with three games between all top and bottom.
Yeah, that's
somebody won again last week.
They always seem to be so tight, you know, everything seems to be so tight, and there'll be a lot of teams that have still got a chance at the playoffs, you know, needing to win out, etc. And at this stage, you know, winning out's only 3 games, so it's highly possible, you know.
So we'll start off with the Dwarfy Steen, and we'll also have the Rousey Cup latest scores as well. When I get my breath back, and then we'll get the better one. Where is it? There we go. Got your heads behind it. But... So we've got the, I don't know, move that a bit. So we've got the Dwarfy Stains Division 4. Why can't I move that? There we go. So I'm just getting you back on the screen so we can see your face. So we've got the Newcastle Magpies, 170.44 against the Cork Red Army, 175.82, so a nice close game. Then you've got the Plymouth Assassins, 224.92 against the Fulwood Patriots, 195. Gloucester Wolfpack, 129.99 against the Birmingham Patriots, 257.98. Then you've got the Rhino Cardinals, 218.45 against the Clemson Marines, 153. The Peterhead Bloody Jets, 106.42 against the Trinity Flyers, 185.14. The Bangham Sharks, who lost last week to the Peterhead Bloody Jets, have just kicking us on there, 197 against the Q Kings, 160. So they're up to 4-7. It would have been 5 if they hadn't had that blip last week. Obviously, the Trinity Flyers are sitting there at 9-2. Obviously, they guaranteed their playoff spot. Looking very good for the top 2 spots too. Birmingham Patriots, Cork Red Army 7-4, Newcastle Magpies, Wolfpack, and Rhino Cardinals 6-5. But looking over their shoulders for the Clemson Marine, Plymouth Assassins, and the Q Kings at 5-6. And
big win for the Plymouth Assassins this week to get themselves onto 5-6. You know, it gives them a great chance of getting in now, because it's one game behind, not just sixth but fourth. So there's a lot of leeway there. There's only 3 games to go. Obviously, you've got to look at Bangham Sharks and Fulwood Patriots. It's a long shot now, isn't it? 2 games behind with 3 games to go. So I would say it's between kind of down to Q Kings that have got a chance of getting in, and it's of course Trinity Flyers. That's they've secured their promotion now, haven't they? So congratulations to them. Oh well, not quite. It's 3 to go. Cork Red Army could still get them.
So they're guaranteed to play us, but they're not still guaranteed to top 2 yet. So
Yeah, you have to think that Birmingham Patriots and Cork Red Army, they're good. They're in now. That's them as good as in. 2 games ahead, 3 games to go. Even if they were to lose all 3, I still think that the 7 would get them in. I don't see that all of Clemson Marines, Plymouth Assassins, and Q Kings all winning out. So 7's definitely going to have a say.
Definitely.
But But yeah, it was a great win for Plymouth Assassins. Let's go and have a wee look at that one and see how that materialised, because that's it's always a good time to be getting those over 200 points now. It's always a good time to be getting there and knocking them up, because
coming up against Lamar Jackson with 6 points.
That's a harsh one, wasn't he? He was scoring negative points in some leagues, Lamar, and he's came back from injury, and he's just not been, it's quite clear. You must think that he's still been bothered by the injury, because it's not been great for him, it has to be said. But Algier, he came in and got the touchdown, which was disappointing for obviously Bejan owners, but wasn't enough, obviously, here. And Kenny Gainwell. I mean, do you play Kenny Gainwell this week with Warren back? That was a big. Every time he comes in when Warren's out, he has such a big game.
I know it's the same with Dowdle and what's his name at Carolina?
Hubbard. But Chubba Hubbard.
Chubba Hubbard and Dowdle. You know what I mean? So you got to think he's going to get his touches, but whether he gets that, he only had 9 carries. But he had 7 catches.
Yeah, that was the big thing. But I mean, Warren is known as a catching back as well as the thing, But yeah, I mean, for me, I've started Kenny Gainwell this week everywhere I've got him. But it was. But yeah, Plymouth Assassins have got themselves over the line here, and Debo's started. He must be delighted that Jamo Williams is starting to show what he's capable of now, because I was very worried at the start of the season for him, but he's had a couple of good games in a row now, and they seem to be trying to get him involved. So that's good news for the Assassins. Bowers back to scoring ways, you've got to think that's got to be good for the future. So yeah, it was a big win. And it gives them a good chance getting to the playoffs, and it's absolutely killed the Patriots here. It's killed their chances for the season, and obviously at 4-7 now, I would say. I mean, it's not mathematically over. You're still playing for it, but in Division 4, there is no relegation, so it's on to next year, really.
I know it's a bit of a shame. Obviously, Lamar screwed him over there, but you see with the Jamo Williams, do you think that's mainly because Dan Quinn's taken over the play calling and got him the ball more?
Well, I mean, certainly since he's taken over, it has got a lot more of the ball, So I don't think that can be a coincidence. It has to be said, and it can only mean good things for the rest of the season for Jamo Williams and his owners, So it could be one that gets. He could be a player that gets Plymouth Assassins over the line.
Definitely. Well, we'll see how they're getting on for week 12. So Plymouth Assassins are up against the Cork Red Army, so they won't win that one, but it's not looking good.
It's a big game because Cork Red Army had a really good win last week as well, so that's a big game for them. If Cork Red Army can get the win there, that gives them they're pushing for automatic promotion as well in the top 2, and there's 2 of them there at 7 and 4, so that's a huge game all round, really.
Especially when you got the next one, the 2 6 and 5s, you'd think Gloucester will back against Newcastle Magpies. Obviously, if they could scrape a win, they could potentially jump above Gloucester Wolfpack. You've got the Rhino Cardinals 6 and 5. They're up against the Fulwood Patriots. The Birmingham Patriots, they've got the bye this week. They're playing the Peterhead Bloody Jets. The Bangham Sharks, obviously, slim hopes, but if they beat Clemson Marine, it gets them a bit closer. They're up against them. And the Trinity Flyers, 9 and 2, are up against the 5 and 6 Q Kings. And projected to lose. I'm not sure what's happening there unless they've not picked their team yet.
Well, yeah, Q Kings are going to be quite happy about that one, and with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback there, I'm not. Is
I thought
is he going to be playing today? I'm not convinced he's playing today. Is he?
I thought he broke his wrist or did something to his wrist. So you surely a quarterback needs his wrist to throw the bloody thing. But
well, it's his other wrist is the thing. It's his left hand. It's not his right hand. It's his left
yeah, no,
hand.
but you still have to. You still have to like can catch it and control it, and you're going to go like that and catch it.
Well, what
But
he's
you never
saying
know.
is can he protect himself or not? But at 6-5, if he's not playing, I mean, if he doesn't play this week and they lose, I mean, it could be that it's the end of Aaron Rodgers, which I wouldn't be losing any sleep over. I can't lie, but yeah, I mean that's a difficult one at quarterback, and if he doesn't play, there isn't one on the bench, so they're going to have to be a late run to agency if they're going to, But of course, what does Trinity Flyers care? They're sitting at 9-2, so they're not that bothered. So it might actually be a good time for Q Kings to be running into them, because they're kind of comfortable up there at 9-2, and might just decide, I don't want to drop anyone. I'll just run without a quarterback if Rodgers doesn't play. So
but they probably need one more game to guarantee the top two. If they take this as a loss, you've got two back next week. If Rodgers isn't playing, then you're okay. But
I'll tell you, with Birmingham Patriots getting Peterhead bloody Jets this week, it's an even bigger game for Cork Red Army up there against Plymouth Assassins, because they need to keep pace with Birmingham Patriots, obviously, if they want to nab that last playoff spot, and playing Kirk Cousins at quarterback's a bit that would be scaring me rotten. I mean, there must be better than Kirk Cousins sitting on an agency, surely to goodness. But Kirk Cousins,
like Plymouth Assassins, I've got no running back, no wide receiver. I wonder if he was
Kamara sitting there on the bench.
Kamara on the bench. He's got Pittman
on the bench, Pierce on the bench, Olave on the bench. So yeah, what to be done?
He's got a good chance if he sorts his team out. So go on, Adam. I think you've won 5 out the last 6. So he has probably the form team in this division.
The form horse, yeah. So
from the bottom, but he's been on a roll, so hopefully he can carry it on.
It's certainly a big game for him. If he loses this week at 5-7, I don't rate much hope with 2 games to go. So it's a big week.
Definitely. So next up we have the Marwick Head Division 3. So our very own Calvite Porkers up 186 against the Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads 234. The Blue Toon Texans 132 up against the Guildford Raptors 100. That's not normal lot in the world scoring. Birmingham Bears 169 against the Not Cold Knockouts 181. That's the 2 teams that got automatic Morrison last year. Manchester Spinners 180 against the London Eagles. They finally they got 200 again, and they won this time. That's 2 in a row for the London Eagles. Woohoo! Doble's Darla Diamonds 212 against the Norwich Mustard Men 186. The Darlington Dragons 177 against the Lagavulin Lemons 175. So that's a close one. And no score corrections caused that one. So that's a nice way to get to the top.
It's at top of the league with a 2-point win on 177 points. Yeah, I think Darlington Dragons can thank their lucky stars this week, and of course it puts them in command of the division, and looking for automatic promotion there. Division 3, Division 2, I always say that's the biggest jump. That's the hardest one to make the jump, and they're looking good now. Great win for Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads against Cavite and Kelly's Cavite Porkers. It puts them in the playoff spot with 3 games to go. So if the Cheeseheads can win out, then they will take the automatic promotional spot. And doubles Darlow Diamonds there at 7-4. Norwich Mustard Men and Birmingham Bears. Knockouts right there in 6-5 as well, and then 5-6 the Guildford Raptors. Below that, it's you're 2 behind with 3 to play, and the Manchester Spinners, London Eagles, and Lagavulin Lemons. It's all about staying up now for them. Obviously, that's it's season over in terms of making playoffs. So mathematically now, so yeah, this one's it's tight down to 8th. 9th's got a wee bit of a sniff, and everyone else, it's all to play for. You would like to think that the 8 and 3s are in now. You don't see knockouts winning 3 in a row. If they do, then it's there's still going to be ones above them that lose. So yeah, you would like to think the 8 and 3s are in the playoffs and they're looking at automatic promotion now.
Well, I think Kelly would hope so he doesn't go on a 3-game losing streak because he is the lowest scoring team at the top 6. So you don't want him slipping down. So you want to get that one win just to keep yourself safe, and that should be it. I think one win will keep him up. Right.
I would say he's more of a sweat than the Bonnie Cheeseheads are, because the Cheeseheads are obviously in a bit of form at the moment as well, whereas Pork very much is not. His team's going in the opposite direction, so he will be after that elusive 9th win just to make sure, and because if any, as you say, with him being a low scorer, that's a danger area.
Let's see then. What was the 2-point difference?
He lost straight London there. It would have been a bit deeper, He lost straight London halfway through, but yeah, I mean, between Allen and Gainwell, we almost got the lemons there. It was very, very close. Between Allen and Gainwell have got 90 odd points between them there.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. And that's with Devin
man, look at a player. Had a player on a bye.
So there you go, and a defender on a bye, 2 players on a bye. So there you go. That's it's.
Man, you're Rice on the bench.
Therein lies the difference with Rice on the bench, and don't even need Rice to play Thielen and won the game, So that's.
So Darlington can thank their lucky stars, Mark here, Michael, because that was. Yeah. Brian, what you doing, man? What you doing?
It's a bit, but the thing is, and I get it, Lagersville Lemons probably in about 20, 30 leagues, and this one's dead now, but it's dead at the moment. As long as you come back for the playoffs and make sure you get your playoffs in. I mean, obviously we want everyone to play on as well, given the fact that it has implications elsewhere in the league, and at least just fix your team, make sure you've got starters in, but yeah, come back for the playoffs because you don't want to get relegated down to the bottom division. That's it. That's the big thing, isn't it?
Definitely. I think it's just come up as well. But yeah, that's Kelly's pal, Brian. That's who we had on the show one time. The peasant folk when he was in the Philippines visiting him. So yeah, Kelly have a word with him, because he needs to sort his team. Yeah, so this week we have the Bluetoon Texans are up against the Bonnery Cheeseheads. Gavick Porkers are against the Birmingham Bears. So 8, 3, 6, and 5. You've got the Manchester Spinners up against the Guildford Raptors. Norwich Mustard Men against the Not Cold Knockouts. And the Lagersville Lemon up against the London Eagles. And Darlington Diamonds are up against the Darlington Dragons.
Yeah, so there's some big games in here, You've got 2 of the 2 and 9s playing each other, so you can effectively score that one out. And the other 2 and 9, who is it that's got the other 2 and 9 again?
The Manchester Spinners are playing the
Guildford Raptors. So great week for the Guildford Raptors, especially given the fact they're sitting at 5 and 6. They get that win, and the 6 and 5s are playing the 7 and 4s and the 8s and 3s. So yeah, there's a lot of really big games in this division. Bonnie Rig Cheeseheads as well. Chris will be absolutely cheesing that he's got Luton Patriots this week, and that'll get him to the 9 wins. And Port's going to have to keep up, and he's playing the 6 and 5 Birmingham Bears, which is going to be a tough game. Obviously Birmingham Bears chasing a playoff spot. So, yeah, it's a big week for Kelly. He's going to need to win this game to keep up with the Bonnie Rig Cheeseheads, I would imagine.
The thing is, the Bluetoon Texans have the random game of scoring 240 points out of nowhere. So it's not a complete walkover.
The way it's going now, Johnny, and it's happening over and it happens every year. The players that are scoring the points right now are a lot left fieldish, like Kenny Gainwell and stuff like that, bouncing out to a 35-point game last week, for example. That's what's happening now. I always say you don't win. You can never win a fantasy season in the draft. Absolutely not. You win the fantasy season in agency. You win it picking up the right players at the right time. You've got the likes of Bam Knight is now leading the Arizona backfield. This week, no one drafted. No one had drafted him.
No.
So
a lot of people picking up Michael Carter. But I don't know why.
There's only Bam Knight and Michael Carter playing this week, so Michael Carter's going to get touches. I understand it as well, So these are the guys. You know, so the scoring can flip about, and just because you're down there at 2-9 doesn't mean you can't have a massive week, you know, and it happens all the time. It's freaky how often it happens, you know. Like those who had Christian Watson sitting in their team at the start, for example, you know, sticking him on IR, he's now back and he's doing okay, you know, and that enhances your team, and all of a sudden you go from 0-10 to winning the last 4 games and thinking, how the hell did that happen? That happened because your players are started, you know, the obscure players started scoring and you had them picked up from agency. You know, it's crazy how much it turns around, and that's why you often see that, you know, top seeds going into playoffs aren't necessarily the teams who win it, because any given Sunday comes in as soon as you hit the playoffs.
Yeah, I just want to get to the top 2 and then worry about it afterwards. Bounce back up after last season.
And take your wins when you get them is the other big thing, you know. If you take your wins when you get them. These close wins, see the Darlington Dragons getting that 2.1 with 2 players not playing the other side. You take your wins when you get them, you know, and that's exactly what I mean by that. So yeah, a lot of big games this week, Johnny. Norwich Mustard Men and Knockhill Knockout 7-4, 6-5. You know, so the Guildford Raptors having a good game against Manchester Spinners, it makes it more important for these 6 and 5s to get their wins and stay ahead of them, because you have to think that they're going to win. So yeah, big week in Division 3.
Yeah. So we'll go on to Division 2. So we've got the Maze Howe division. So you've got the highest scoring team in Orkney, the Sandbach Satan, 191 against the Southampton Dockers, who were 9-1, 166.97. The Whitchurch Warriors, 141.8 against the Nottingham Rebels, 181.19. The Birmingham Master Chiefs, 128.6 against, there's Derek, he's going to watch later on, 197.
He's on with his fingernails, isn't he?
He mentioned earlier on he was going to watch it later on. The Lancaster Bombers, 227 against the Turbo Titans, 166. The Glasgow Lightnings, 256.38 against the Whitford Educators, 179. Mr. A. Dillon hasn't picked his team for a couple of weeks, so I think he's still got Scatterbo in it. The Chester Hurricanes, 179 against the Royal Raiders, 155.89. So there you go, Sandbach Satans, right up to the top there, 9-2. Southampton Dockers, they spelled the team wrong, 9-2. The Nottingham Rebels at 7-4. Look at this, you've got 6-5 for the Raiders and the Titans. Then you've got 5-6, 5-6, 5-6, 5-6 for the Lightning, Bombers, Hurricane, and Educators. And even Kilmarnock Kings at 4-7. With it being 6 spot 5-6, they've still got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, literally, technically, the Birmingham Master Chiefs aren't out of it. They can win 3 in a row, you know. It's but with 6th place being 5-6. So yeah, this one's really, really tight. And the Titans and the Raiders there at 6-5. Bad scoring weeks this week for both of them. Sorry, Everett. Sorry, Aaron. But really bad. And this is not the time, you know, to be bad scoring weeks. Even if you're losing, if you're scoring kind of 190, 200 points and losing, you know that you're at least your team scoring points and you've just lost a better team. But when you're scoring 150, 160 points and losing, it's you're a wee bit worried about the form of your team at this stage of the season, you know.
Can have a look at. I know they're both look at the top team there. You got the.
Yeah, I mean this is a good big win. I mean these two are now guaranteed playoffs, with this 6th place being 5-6, you know, so they're both guaranteed playoffs. But look at that quarterback matchup, Johnny.
And 5 against 6. That's it. Yep.
And it's still 190 points for Sandbach Satans with 5 points from his quarterback. So that just goes to show how well the rest of the team's gone, you know. You've got H-An there, Hall not doing the best either, you know. Flivers doing what Flivers normally does. That's a slow week from Puka. You know, it's a heck of a team there, you know, and they're not guaranteed promotion yet, but it looks very much like it with the 2-game lead on 3rd, you know, so could be a team to look out for in the 1st division next year. Both of them actually, you know, they're both good squads. When you've got Drake May sitting on your bench, that's the
thing where you were always going to play with Lamar over Drake May. You were, especially after the week before, you were always going to play Herbert over Young.
Well, I mean, don't get it. I mean, Herbert over Young is you're playing Herbert over Young 100% of the time, and you've got Young there in case Herbert gets an injury. Whilst I don't, you can pick someone up from agency, I don't agree with it. I understand it. What I don't understand is sitting with Drake May and Lamar Jackson, because you're never going to play Drake May over Lamar Jackson, and all you're doing is, weeks like this where Drake May's outplayed Jackson by 18 points. I mean, it wouldn't have made a difference overall in the game, but it's a waste of a bench spot to me. If you've got Lamar there, you surf agency the week that he's on by, and you roll with him, because you're never going to drop him.
I suppose he was injured, but when is the bye week?
What do I know? I mean, Southampton Dockers are 9-2 in the second division. I'm looking at relegation to the fourth, so what do I know? There's obviously method behind the madness. I just don't know what it is.
Oh, Derek's got McCaffrey, Purdy, Henry, Franklin. You lost Ayew, Manure, Metcalf, Njoku. So basically, those top three. You've got Brissett in the bench.
I mean, it's heavily relying on the 49ers offense. But I mean, the 49ers offense is back to pretty much full strength now. I mean, Ayuk's never really a thing, is he? So they are back to pretty much full strength, So Purdy's back. McCaffrey looks great when Purdy's playing. So, I mean, if Derek can win out, which is entirely possible, get himself to 7-7, he's got every chance of making the playoffs. It's not over for him yet. And, you've got, I know that, let's see who's playing who next week.
Thing is, when you get to the playoffs, you only have to win one game if you're in.
This is big weeks. Yeah, that's that one and you're 1-1 and you get your promotion. And this is big weeks for the Titans and the Raiders. Both those teams have got to turn it around. They've got to get their win this week and get themselves to 7 wins. So it'll be interesting to see who they're playing.
So you've got the Nottingham Rebels against the Southampton Dockers. So 9-2, 7-4. Sandbach Satan's up against the Birmingham Master Chiefs. 3-8. The 2-9 Whitchurch Warriors against the 5-6 Lancashire Bombers. Glasgow Lightning 5-6 against the 4-7 Kilmarnock Kings. So Derek, you really need to win that one. Oh, they're up against each other.
Playing each other. They're playing each other.
I take it Everett's not set his team up. Then you've got the Chester Hurricanes 5-6 against the Whitford Educators 5-6.
There's huge games there, but those two because they're both in losing streaks at the moment. This is a huge game to see who can turn it around and who can get this. This is possibly for me. The winner of this game is going to make the playoffs, and the loser of this game is not. That's how tight this one is.
Well, Everett needs to put a defender in. He needs to put a quarterback in.
He does. So I mean, I mean, let's have a wee look at the benches and just see what's on there. So Shaw's going to be coming in and playing, and I think Aaron's pretty much starting the right teams. He's got quite a few players on by there. He's got Gadsden on by. He's got Thomas out, which is unfortunate. And I wouldn't be starting Tillman this week either. So I think he started the right team, and Everett's obviously got to do a little bit.
You'll have to keep an eye on Rodgers at 6 o'clock whether he's playing or not.
Yes, he will, but he's not. Has he got a quarterback on the bench there? No. He's going to have to go agency surfing, isn't he?
He's only got 2 off. But there's bound to be somebody in agency as a quarterback.
Oh, there'll be loads in agency.
Oh, you got Brissett.
Yeah, there's Jacoby. Brissett would be the one. I mean, I would have Brissett in over Rodgers all day long if it was me. Aaron, go and pick up Brissett and play him over Rodgers, will you? I'll message you when we're done. Yeah, I mean, Brissett's throwing for over 250 yards every game, and against the Jaguars this week at home. At home means Arizona, means it's going to be probably a decent enough weather, fine to throw in, and he's going to go for over 250 yards. It's an absolute given because you can't run on the Jags, so it's going to be all Brissett, and the Jags will be scoring. So, yeah, I see him throwing a lot, and I see him getting a lot of points this week. So that would be my move if I was Aaron, and I think that might just get him over the line and get him the win against Everett.
It's going to be a nice close one then. That's an interesting game. So we'll go on to the top division in the West Conference. So we've got Happy Valley. So we've got the Borden Regis Falcons 156 against the Melbourne Supremacy and Pro Supremacy at 209. That's them going 10-1. The South London Rebels at 7-4, 189 against the Dickensies Demons 195, up to 6-5. Belfast Benchwarmers 171 against the Kirkwall Raiders. Good win, Alan. 189.62. Then you've got the Kirkwall Cowboys breaking his losing streak 217 against the Gothenburg Angels, 178. Darlow Destroyers are defending champions, 239 against the EU Villains, 193. Crew Juggernauts, 181 against the Portland Lumberjacks. They're gonna go, what are you doing, man? 121.32.
Going for the Crew Juggernauts as well keeps them in the hunt.
Definitely. So we've got 10-1, 3-7-4 between the Darlow Destroyers, Kirkwall Cowboys, and South London Rebels. Dickens' team at 6-5, then 5-6 for spot 6, 7, 8, and 9 for the Benchwarmers, the Juggernauts, Lumberjacks, and the Falcons. And I know potentially you could have Alan, any of them could get in, but yeah, you've got to think now 10, 11, and 12 are not getting in.
Oh, they're not. Three wins and too many above them at 5 and 6 as well, I would say. But the Melbourne Supremacy have now nailed down their bye in the playoffs, no doubt. So, I mean, I guess if they lose out, then it could go, but that's not going to happen. So, yeah, well done, Melbourne Supremacy. You'll get a wee bye in the playoffs and get a rest. Obviously, it doesn't get you promotion. There's nowhere to be promoted to, but it will get. And for the top four now, the top four, we have a top four now. It's down to 7 and 4. So Dickens Heath Demons, if they're wanting to get involved in the race for the title, then they're going to need to get at least 2 wins, and Belfast Benchwarmers, well, they're holding the spot at the moment, but there's so many at 5 and 6 that it can't be by much. What's it? Oh no, it is actually. It's by about 80 odd points, isn't it? So as long as they keep winning, their points should stay above. So yeah, it's all very tight there for the last couple of playoff spots. But and it looks the top four's opening up. I would say that Dickens Heath Demons, are the only team that could probably get in there against the South London Rebels. And of course, this win was a big way towards that. Obviously this has given them a good chance of getting into the top 4 now. That's with Bartley not doing much. Is Bartley ever going to start swinging again? There's just something not right with that Philadelphia Eagles offense, is there? It looks a bit in disarray, despite the fact they're still winning.
I know. I just can't believe they're still winning. But how many times how many false starts have they had in that flipping toothbrush?
It's ridiculous. It's just they have to outlaw it because it's a false start every single time. But what can you do?
They had that when they played the Giants for 4-1 and went false start and got the first down on the goal line. It's 4 in a row.
It's just a ridiculous play. I mean, technically they could just do it every single play and they would get 10 yards every time because often they push it for 3-4 yards, so they would get 10 yards every time. That would. I wish they would do it just once. Just do it for a whole entire drive, doing nothing but the tush push. That would ban it pretty quick.
Oh no! Imagine doing it in the Super Bowl.
They did do it in the Super Bowl, didn't? Oh yeah, every play. That would be good.
They did it 4 times against the Giants from like the 6-yard line.
I mean, they do. They've done it more than once.
And the 4-1 was offside, false start, so it shouldn't really count. But yeah,
Michael Wilson, there's a big player at the moment. There's a big player for you, Michael Wilson. I mean, he's even outplayed McBride there, 41.75. But with Harrison out and Brissett in and throwing very well, I think he's a massive player and he's on a lot of agencies at the moment, so I think he's going to be a real big player this week. I think he's going to score a lot of points. So, and of course he did last week and made a difference.
I know, I had him in the home league, but I'd only picked him up for the game as a backup for McConkey. I wish I'd played him, but I still won. But we'd have a lot better win, even with non-PPR.
I'm sure you're playing him this week.
He is in the team this week. Yes, he certainly is. Yes. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the options there on the bench, there's not many options on the bench here. DK might be a play this week with Anna Manor out, but it's just so difficult for the Titans because they are an awful offense. One of the worst offenses I think we've seen in the NFL for a long time, to be fair. So yeah, they've got a lot of work to do. But I mean, when they do something, it does seem to be him, doesn't it? So
yeah,
it's a possible.
In our division, I think for the top 3 flex spots for free agency is Gunnar Helm, Chigakonko, and DK. That's 3 players at the top of the free agency list for the so-called bits for this week.
There's a reason for that, you know, that therein lies a reason for that. Yeah, I mean the Melbourne supremacy, they're not caring now. They're on to week 15 now. They're not caring about now. So it's a good week, I would say, for Dick and Heath Demons to get them 6 and 5, you know. Needing the win, that's for sure. Yeah, and 2 5 and 6s, Belfast Benchwarmers and Bogdan Regis Falcons. Well, the loser of that game's pretty much it's all over for them, I would say. You know, they've got to start thinking about staying in the division. South London Rebels get a nice game to get themselves to that 8 win and keep themselves in that, you know, top 4. Darlow Destroyers as well, a nice game for them to have this week. That'll get the, you know, defending champions and all that. That's the top 4 is very much looming for them now.
And the Cowboys.
Big game for Crew Juggernauts. That's that could be the thorn in the side there. You know, if the Crew Juggernauts can get the win against Kirkwall Cowboys, that keeps that race for the fourth place alive. And a good week for the Portland Lumberjacks to get one of the bottom teams, you know, at 5 and 6. That could give them a chance of keeping themselves involved in the playoffs.
Who the Bogners have had? James Cook, Shakir.
Maybe a defender as well, isn't there?
Oh, 2 defenders. The kicker and Bernard's only 10 points and 7. So basically, about 4 players playing with 64 points.
It's a nice point start, you know, but it's 4 players in, you know, you're 4 players deep. So I'm very much one of, I like to get the points on the board and then watch, you know, my opponent's players come at me. You know, I'm very much, I like to get the points on the board and see where we're at. So good start for Borgman and Regis Falcons in my eyes. It's, and, you know, still second favourites for the game by the looks of it, but they've got the points on the board and the Belfast Benchwarmers, well, they've got to come get them now. So,
well, that's all you need now is like a couple of bad players, a couple of bad scores, and yeah, it's happened so many times this year, anyway. And Ian's joined us. Hi, Ian. How's it going? Perfect timing for your division too, because we're on to the West, the East Conference, Mullhead. So we've got the Plymouth Argyle
Browns. Back down to Division 4 again.
Yeah, Plymouth Argyle Browns 208 against the Workhorses 190. The Bucks Gold Rush win again 186.05 against the Portsmouth Pirates 131. The Nairn Knights 182 against 196 Preston Mooney Tunes. There you go. Perfect timing there, Ian. So is that 5 in a row or is it 5 out of 6? I'm not sure. The Laxdale Legends 147 against the Bedford Brewskis 160.45. The Preston Hawks 184.46 against the Edinburgh Thunderbirds 167. The Chicago Scorpions 257. It's a cracking score. Unlucky for Lee Vikings getting 200 points and losing 207. So that puts Chicago Scorpions at the top ahead of Plymouth Argyle Browns. Well done, Arthur. So far, you got the Workshop of Rookies, Bedford Brewskis, Laxdale Legends at 6 and 5. Then you've got the Preston Mooney Tunes, Edinburgh Thunderbirds, Portsmouth Pirates, Nairn Knights, Lee Vikings, and Preston Hawks at 5 and 6. And Gary at 4 and 7 after his 3 wins out of the last 4 or whatever.
I was going to say, what's happening with Gary? Is he actually trying for a change? I mean, look at this. He's on a roll. He's back in it. No one's dead in this division, and of course, with this being Division 4 and no relegation involved, it's great to see every team still got something to play for, you know, and they really do. Preston Mooney Tunes are on a good winning run as well now. Well done, Ian. At 5 and 6, they've actually got the spot now, so that means that they've got the points advantage as well, which is at this stage when a league is this tight, it's always a great thing to have. But yeah, this is tight. I mean, even the 2 at the top at 7 and 4, they're not mathematically in the playoffs yet, much less got the automatic promotion nailed down. So absolutely everyone's got everything to play for with 3 weeks to go here. I love to see a league like this.
I'm sure the ones that are playing in it don't love it too much.
Well, it certainly gets the bum cheeks. It certainly gets the bum cheeks flapping when you're involved in it, you know.
So 208 to 190. So there you go. Gamewell 36. Obviously, it's not got.
Gamewell having a big game. But that's the thing. Gamewell's only made up for what Chase should have done, you know. And you see that a lot, you know. If your star player doesn't quite perform. If one of your kind of lesser players picks up a big game like that, it keeps your score level. You know, it keeps you to the level. Whereas Amon-Ra St. Brown doing 8.75, that's just that's no good really. You know, and 15 from Hunt just doesn't cover that. You know, the same way that Gainwell's 33 covers Chase's 7, and there's the difference in this game.
Definitely. And obviously, 2 Cleveland defenders for probably one of the best defenses in the league. For Schweissinger and Garrett.
Garrett's been absolutely flying, and you know they've got the Raiders this week, so you can see Garrett having an absolutely monster game again this week. You know, very much so.
It could easily be 3-0.
That's
and or 2-0. Get a safety.
A massive score. Unfortunate for Levi Kings to run into that at this stage. You know, when the league's this close, you really don't want to be running into 250 points. It just hurts so bad.
I know, and that's for 58. Well, he wouldn't have got this for Alan this week. He got 58
no,
for
he won't be getting that for Alan this week, that's for sure. But that's with Demarcado, by the way, 250 odd points with Demarcado there at 5 points.
Yeah, so look at that.
You know, Michael Wilson. And I mean, see, playing Wilson last week, you have to doff the cap for those who brought Wilson in and started him because, you know, it was a bit of a left field throw, you know, with the Cardinals being the Cardinals. And yeah, of course, Harrison was out, but it took a bit of balls to stick Wilson in there and go with him. So I do doff my cap to all those who played him this week.
It was definitely a good one. So let's see, where are you, Ian? Oh, it's a closer one, 196 to 182. So is that Joe in your nights? Yeah.
Joe Flacco in there at quarterback. That's a proper boomer bust at the moment, isn't it? Every week I play him, he does nothing, and then every week I leave him on my bench, he scores stupid. So that's annoying. But he's got old Drake London's out. He's getting Vidal on bye weeking out. So yeah, work to be done for Ian this week. I can see.
You'll get more out of Smith against Dallas.
Oh yeah, you played Smith. Smith's one of these ones. He's going to have the weeks of 2 points in that, but you have to hope that, you know, kind of get into the run of the playoffs and hopefully that offense will start purring a wee bit better than it is at the moment, you know.
So you've got a choice of
on the bench here as well.
Hubbard or Spears. You got to play Spears. Either mind.
I'd play Spears over Hubbard all day long. Yeah, you can't be playing Hubbard now. It's that's Dowdle's backfield now. You've got to play Spears because Spears will get 5 or 6 catches, you know, in the game. That's you know pretty much guaranteed. So I mean, they probably won't go for much, you know, but he'll get 5 or 6 catches. So chuck him in there anyway because he might bust one. You never know. And Luther Burden's another one that I feel like it's only a matter of time before he gets more involved in that Chicago offense, which does seem to be going pretty well, you know. So that's another one that's an option to be putting in.
I think Godwin's back this week as well. I think there's something that Godwin might be playing today, so this weekend as well. So that'll be a good one for Baker. But yeah, so let's see who's playing who this week then.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's with 3 weeks to go now, and with the way this division is, you really don't losing is not an option, you know. And I feel for Joe here playing Joe with his near nights there up against the informed Plymouth Argyle Browns, you know, and at 5 and 6, and he's on a wee bit of a losing streak, much like he is in the home league, Johnny. You know, when he's on a wee bit of a losing streak and falling down a bit. So I'm hoping it turns around for him.
Yeah, obviously, so we've got the workhorses up against the Bucks Gold Rush, and they get another cracking score and beats them again. And keep it tight. You've got the Plymouth Argyle Browns at 7-4 against let's say Joe at 5 and 6, Portsmouth Pirates at 5 and 6, the Petra Brewskis at 6 and 5. You've got Press. We've got Ian against Pez. They've got this little rivalry here.
Oh, it's about the Preston Derby. Oh, the Preston Derby's on.
And I think Pez won the first one in week 1 as well. So you want a bit of revenge here, won't you, Ian? Plus the fact playing Pez, I know you might sing with. So then you've got the Laxale Legends up against the Chicago Scorpions. So and Edinburgh Thunderbirds up against the Lee Vikings.
They're all huge games, and every one of them's a huge game. And I mean, Laxdale Legends will be cussing their luck running into Chicago Scorpions at this time after the Scorpions scored 250 odd points. Although, they're not getting the same points for Josh Allen this week, so that's a good start at least. But yeah, the Preston Derby, that's got to be, every game's
That's
a big one here,
week.
so it's got to be the Preston Derby that's the big biggie. Professor Pez, let's see what's happening here. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Pez is starting there. Brissett, he knows what he's looking at. I see big points for Brissett this week against the Jacksonville defense. I really do. It's you can't run on them, but you can throw on them. So it's a big week for that. And Seattle have been talking about getting Kenny Walker more and more, and Kenneth Walker more involved. So you could see him getting a lot more touches. So yeah, you're up against it this week, Ian. It's if you're playing Wilson, I know that Jacobs is a bit hurt, but as far as I'm aware, he's starting.
It's a game time decision. They're going to decide at game time with his playing. And Godwin's first game back, so you get plenty target.
Back. I would not be putting Godwin in. I would be leaving him on my bench and waiting to see.
Slayton's back from injury.
So yeah, it's a tight one. It looks like a close one. Pez has got Shaheed in there as well. He's done nothing so far in Seattle, but you have to think it's only a matter of time before he gets a kind of bust out game type thing. So yeah, it looks a tight one, and it's such a close one where I think the loser of that, the loser of the Preston Derby, is probably not going to be making the playoffs this year. So but a big game there.
There'll be plenty of banter back and forward in that one.
I'll bet.
Yeah, good luck, Arthur. You get a chance to, depending on the scores, if you get to 8, and you won't quite guarantee the player spot, but you're as bloody as good as. So you can if
he gets to 8, he is guaranteed. Because, no, that's okay. They can still get. Yeah, though. If he gets to 8, he's in.
As good as, yeah.
But it's a big week for Joe there as well. Joe desperately needs a win, because if Joe loses, I can't see how he gets back from 5 and 7, gets back into it. So yeah, that's I mean, as I say, it's so tight, this division, that every game's a big one. There isn't a small game here.
The thing is, though, if he loses, he's still only going to be one spot behind the player spot, because
don't get me wrong.
It'll be one game, so.
The 7 and 5s, even the 6 and 5s, they can kind of, a loss isn't dropping, a loss isn't putting them out of the equation. The 5 and 6s, if they lose, I would say they're dead. But the 7 and 4s and the 6 and 5s, if they lose, they're still in the chase. They're still in it.
So yeah, Arthur's down here. Come on, Ian. I'm sure Pez is going to love that one. So we'll go on to our division. You got Queen Hill. So you got the Orkney Orcas 189 against the Bottom Bears 139. Cripple Chargers 157 against the Hot Dogs 154. Aberdeen Bucks 190 against 179 for the Newcastle Buccaneers. Glossop Fighting Gophers 222 against 194 Edinburgh Packers. That was a sore one. The Preston Panthers 176 against the Backfoot Panthers 206.85. And £190 for the informed Top Head Niners against the Rotherham Raiders 162.07. Do you want to see the trade first, or do you want to go with the table?
Well, let's look at the table first, and we'll do it in order. So so I mean, the 8s and 3s are looking very good now, aren't they? You're right up there. I mean, with the 7 and 4, with 3 teams being at 7 and 4 tucked in behind you, it's you're not guaranteed the automatic promotion yet, but you're certainly on your way, Johnny. As is Kirkwall Chargers. That's 2 teams that are looking very good. Aberdeen Bucks, Top Head Niners, and Preston Panthers are all looking very good there at 7 and 5. 7 and 4, sorry. And Newcastle Buccaneers, they've obviously got the win over the Bodom Bears and the Gossip Fighting Gophers now. So, that this league's starting to take its shape for sure. Our division's taking its shape. I'm down there at 11 and at 3 and 8 now and 11. So I'm out of it. The Rotherham Raiders are out of it. Bankfoot Panthers, Hot Dogs, Gossip Fighting Gophers, and Bodom Bears. Not dead yet, but the 5 and 6s, certainly they've got a chance of getting in, but it's only one spot you're playing for now. You have to think, you're 2 behind with 3 to play on 5th, so you have to think that you're playing for that one last spot, and it's Newcastle Buccaneers they'll have their eye on to be beaten.
Mm-hmm. So this happened this morning.
It's the trade deadline this week, Johnny. It's the trade deadline, so let's see what's going on.
So I got George Kittle. And Rotherham Raiders got Hawkinson and Washington.
So have you taken your mask off yet?
I put the offer in, he accepted it. That's the way it goes. You know what I mean? No, my luck, you get bloody injured this week and that a bit, but again,
it's a 2-for-1, isn't it? I mean, TJ Hawkinson. Do you know TJ Hawkinson's only about 28 years old? I mean, to me, it seems like he's in his 30s. He's only like 28, but it just seems to have fallen off the radar and he seems to have lost the step a little bit. But certainly Parker Washington, I like that pickup, especially with Thomas being out. Obviously, Hunter's on IR now. He's not going to be back this season. They are very much in the hunt for the playoffs. They are very much chasing it and they have a great chance of making it. So I think that's a great pickup for him, and he's got a kind of 2-for-1. Obviously, he's had to give up George Kittle, but it's a fair deal, to be fair. Rotherham Raiders are looking at the consolations now. They're looking at staying in the division. They don't want relegated. So to pick up 2 startable players, I get exactly what he's doing, and it could help him in the playoffs massively. And George Kittle might just be who was your tight end, Johnny?
Hawkinson.
Oh, well, that's who you were actually playing.
Yeah, Hawkinson was in the starting lineup. So, because I wasn't playing, who have I got this week? Hawkinson took his place. I've got Johnson.
You've got Theo Johnson there as well. But yeah, I mean,
I've also got
especially with Purdy up, Johnny, especially with Purdy back at quarterback and looked pretty decent last week. It has to be said, he looked good, first week back and all that. A wee bit of rust, obviously, but he looked decent. So yeah, I think Kittle could be the one that gets you over the line. Gets you that automatic promotion. That's a very good one. And Hotshot Hot Dogs will be very, they're not going to be happy that they're running into you. I guess that kind of puts the final nail in their coffins. But Kirkwall Chargers could do all those 5 and 6. He's a big favour this week. That's a huge game for the Newcastle Buccaneers. Every game is right now at 6 and 5, and very much looking over your shoulder.
It's a nice start for the Chargers too. I think most of their team are on a bye. I think I saw something in the chat. You had like the Chargers. You had like 5 players on a bye, or 6 players on a bye this week. There you go. Bye.
No,
bye.
I'm not being funny, but when you've got 5 players from the same team, that's going to happen one week. So and it's what I mean. 5 players from one team equals you're going to have a week like that. Big game there for the Glossop Fighting Gophers and the Bodom Bears. The winner of that's got a chance, and I would say that the loser of that, if the Newcastle Buccaneers get their win there, I would say the loser of that's out of it, gone completely. And those 2 7 and 4s, Aberdeen Bucks and the Preston Panthers, proper 50-50 game, and it's a huge game because the winner of it's got a chance for automatic promotion, and the loser of it's probably going to they'll still make the playoffs, no doubt, but it's the automatic promotion could be huge. And then, of course, I'm up against the Rotherham Raiders, so that's just a nothing game. We're just I mean, do you know what? It could be a warm up for the playoffs at some point. So
yeah, the first round of the playoffs.
And then obviously it's the Bankfoot derby. The village of about 20 people. We've got 2 of them in this league, and they're playing each other this week. So that's a big game for that's a big game for the Friday night boozer bragging rights. That's for sure. So a bit bigger game for Fraser than it should be, just because it's against Doug.
But then he scored over 200 last week. So he had a good score last week. He's got 40 points already on the board. What was the score week 1? I can't mind on.
Yeah, I think Doug won it in week 1. Yeah, Doug won it in week 1.
189-74. That's still close, though.
Barely.
Yeah.
Barely. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure it looks like Doug's in the playoffs now, but he's got a great chance of automatic promotion at the moment, sitting at 7 and 4. He's only 1 game behind it. If he wins out, you have to think 10 wins would be enough. If he gets 10 wins, then that affords you and the Kirkwall Raiders 1 loss each, which, you think might come along. So he's got a great chance of automatic promotion, and I'm pretty confident Fraser would love nothing more than to put a spanner in those works. So a bigger game than it should be.
I know. I am looking forward to the Preston against Aberdeen Bucks. That looks like it's going to be a very close game. So, because obviously
Yeah, I mean, it's the two
Stevie the
7
new,
and 4s
is it
again,
not?
as I say,
So, yeah.
the winner of it's got a good chance of automatic promotion, especially with Kirkwall Chargers being second favourite at the moment. It's
So,
and of course the Aberdeen Bucks there with Josh Allen. That they'll be awfully disappointed for the start they've made to this game.
although,
But then you look over and you
look at
see
that.
JJ McCarthy on the other side up against the Packers defence, and you think, yeah, that's probably going to be a winning score in the position, you know.
He's playing Carter against Jags
I
defence.
mean, Bartley and Taylor, who let him get Bartley and Taylor out the bloody Josh Allen, Bartley and Taylor? I mean, come on, gentlemen. That's my division too. How did we let that happen, Johnny?
I went McCaffrey and Irvin, which was the two good ones. But I was hoping to get Taylor. I think Taylor maybe went in the third.
Taylor was later than he should have been. I'm so upset I've not got Taylor in a lot more leagues because he was going pretty late. I think I left him alone because I obviously have him in the home league and I didn't want to cuss him there, but I really should have him in a lot more places. But Bartley's been such a big disappointment. You know, Bartley's the reason that that the Aberdeen Bucks are 7-4 and not 9-2 or whatever, because he has been such a big disappointment. But yeah, that's a huge game, a huge as I say, the winner has got to look to kick on for auto promotion and got a good shot of it, and the loser probably not.
Yeah. So that's our week for there. So good luck everybody there, including yourself. So we've got Yesnavy Division 2. So we've got the Warners Bay Goonies 172 against the Yorkshire Friends 216. Arcadia Red Wolves 212 against the Darlington Rams 124. Newcastle Masters 184 against EK Courts 163. Leeds Lepers now own 135 against 191 for the New Mexico Chupacabras. Ancoats Citizens 173 against the Sorens Flyers 227. Solihull Sharks 219 against the Waternorton Warriors 175. So that one's put the Soren Flyers up to the top 8-3. Ancoats Citizens at 8-3. EK Colts and Bars Masters 7-4, and look, you've got three teams at 6-5: Finns, the Warriors, and the Rams.
Right.
You've got two at 5-6: the Goonies and the Sharks. Then you've got the Ancoats Citizens, your Chupacabras at 4-7. Not really out, but they probably are. And then you've got the Leeds Leopards.
111. Well, I mean, will we get a first ever O is a big question, isn't it? Can they find a win? With 135 points, it's not looking likely. I get the feeling that the white flag has been flown. However, it's all about, and you see it happening all the time as well. You know, that the team that's away down at the bottom with no wins, 1-1 in the season, it doesn't mean that they're going to bomb out the playoffs. You know, all it takes is a couple of players to have massive weeks in week 15, and they get through that week, then they win the next week, and they're still in the second division. So there's still a lot to play for Leeds Leopards, even at own 11. Obviously, I mean, I would be wanting rid of the O. I would be playing my wee heart out trying to get rid of that O before the end of the season. But if not, certainly the playoffs is a lot to play for. Looks like Martin's flying.
He's still got Garrett Wilson on his team.
And he's Soren Flyers. That's tying it up with Ancoats Citizens and indeed getting ahead of them, and up there at 8-3 now. Automatic promotion is very much in his sights, and it's if they can go up and up again, that would be successive promotions. That would be some going. But Drake London's got to be replaced this week. Obviously, that's a bit of a sore one.
But then Ancoats have lost Chase this week.
Ancoats Citizens have got, and with the 7 and 4s tucked in right behind them, it's not guaranteed the automatic promotion yet. So they've got to keep going and they've got to keep winning. So having to replace players like that is very difficult.
Stevenson's back this week as well.
Yeah, Stevenson back's going to hurt head. I mean, I know everyone seems to think it's Trevion's backfield now, but I don't. They like Stevenson too much. I don't get me wrong. I think he'll get a lot more touches. I think it'll be 50-50, but I think it'll be 50-50. I don't think it's going to be Henderson with Stevenson spotting him. I think it's going to be 50-50. So that's going to hurt Henderson scoring this week. But yeah, I mean, it's a great time for Martin's got on a good run now and right at the right time, so flying up that table, and there's so much to play for in the middle there, all the 5s and 6s, 6 and 5s, they're battling it out, and with 3 games to go, it's what you would think 1, 2 out of 3 and you're going to make it.
Let's see, they're about to be a 5 and 6 somewhere. They go Darlington Rams 6 and 5 against the Goonies 5 and 6.
See,
Then you've got the pass. That?
Yeah, huge
Well, you
game,
can
you
do
know, right off the bat, huge 6 and 5 against 5 and 6. If Sam wins that, he puts him, you know, he knocks out one or Goonies in the sense of catching him. So it's straight off the bat, massive game. The Yorkshire, and here comes here's Luke coming up, you know, 6 and 5, and it seems to be Luke's way in the fantasy, isn't it? He loves hovering around that playoff spot. I've never seen him like rank bottom, and I've never seen him flying at the top. You know, every league that I'm in with Luke, he seems to be right there on the play.
Well, that's the thing.
Playoff bubble.
He had a run at the end of the season last year and it got me relegated.
Yes, I mean,
yeah.
he does tend to. He's a kind of he's one of those players who he tends to find a way. You know, no matter what's happening to his team, he finds a way of winning enough weeks to keep himself involved. And a big game for him against the New Bars and Mashers this week, obviously 7-4, 6 and 5. That could really help. You know, winning there, that's a big one that would help him make the jump into playoffs. The 2, 4 and 7s, you have to think they're kind of out of it now. There's too many teams at 5 and 6 wins that even if they were to win out, I'm not sure that the 7 and 7 might get them in, but certainly the loser's absolutely dead at that point. Martin, it's a big game against the EK Colts. Now, he's just climbed his way up to that 8 and 3, just climbed his way to the top. Don't go and blow it the first week you get there. You know, you got to see that home. You got to follow that through, and you got to beat the EK Colts this week in order to.
I think the EK Colts are the highest scoring team.
You know, and then Waterrock Warriors, they'll be delighted. You know, 6 and 5, and almost the bye. So it's a big week for them to get that 7th win and move on. And Coach Citizens, well, yeah, after a bad loss to Soaring Flyers and losing their top spot last week, they need to bounce back. And it's one that Solihull Sharks are chasing the playoff spots. They're well in the hunt, so it's a tough one to have, but they're looking like they're favourites to do so.
Yeah. The thing with EK Colts, they're basically the 2 highest scoring teams playing against each other, which is a massive game.
Yeah, but EK Colts are higher scoring than the Flyers. So if EK Colts beat them, they go above them. You know, so I mean, the Soaring Flyers they've got themselves up there to the top, and they could be third next. If they lose this game, there's every chance they're going to be third next week. You know, and out of the automatic playoff spot. So you know that's what happens at this time of year. And even if he does lose it doesn't mean that he's lost the automatic playoff spots. It just means that he's one behind with 2 to play. You know, and it's certainly a massive game when you're up against one of your biggest rivals for that automatic spot at this stage of the season.
Especially after last week's wins, that's 2 of the bigger. They played the second top and then the third top, or were top. So yeah, it's a hell of a run in for him. So hopefully the last 2 should be a bit easier for him. But yeah, good
he's
luck
winning them.
Guys.
That's the thing, Johnny. He's winning them, you know. So not only is he winning them, but that breeds a confidence for when you play these teams in the playoffs. Well, you look back and you say, "Oh, I beat them 3 weeks ago," you know. So it breeds confidence as well. So Martin's looking very good at the moment, and I'd absolutely fancy him to nail down that automatic promotion spot. And that's and I'll tell you what, see if he gets successive promotions, it will be very interesting to see how he goes next year in the top division.
Definitely. And talking about the top division, we have the St Magnus Division 1. We've got the Godalming Goats, 255 against the Seattle Patriots, 194. The Whitford Rockstars, 245.98 against the Manchester Bees, 141. So that was a top of the table clash, that one.
Yeah, that's a big win for
189 against 191. The Glasgow Eagles, so that was a topsy-turvy, very close.
Okay, Danny.
The Newcastle Colts, change the bloody name, Sean, 173 against the Harlow Harlequins, 187. Then you got the Leeds Lassos, 201 against beating the Carlton Crew, 287. These are 2 very close teams. Then you got the Leicester Tigers, 157, beating the Stockholm Bengals, 105. So this is pretty tight, I think. So you've got 2 8 and 3s, a couple of games clear. So the one more win should hopefully get them into the top 2 guaranteed. But obviously, is it top 3 or 4 go into the playoffs, if I remember rightly? But
yes, top 4, I believe. That's why I was talking top 4 before. Also
Yeah,
getting a
so
buy in the playoffs for the divisional title, you know, because
that's
when
the
you're
main
in
one.
Division 1, you always want to win the top, you know, you want to be the conference champion, you know, even if you don't go on and win the whole thing. Being a conference champion is a big thing as well, you know, winning the top division. So it's all to play for. Obviously, Whitworth Rockstars and Manchester Bees, they're looking very comfortable to get in there, and certainly that, you know, they're one win away, like you say, from being top four, because, you know, Seattle Patriots points are what, 2097 against. Oh no, it's quite tight actually. Certainly with Rockstars, they're one win away from absolutely guaranteeing being in the top four. So, and then look at all those 6 and 5s right up to third. So,
Yeah.
and it's not just like, you know, the likes of Carroll Crew there at 5 and 6, and there's a few more coming down at 5 and 6. Leeds, Lassos, Glasgow Eagles. The three of them, they're all the way down to ninth place, and only one win behind third place.
Third.
And the top four getting into the playoffs for the Orkney Bowl. You know, it's all to play for all the way down to ninth. That's massive, you know. And even Stoke and Bengals and Dublin Everton Blues at 4 and 7, if they were to win out, they've got a chance of sneaking sixth and getting into the playoffs. So
I know, because there was only 2 points between
again,
this one, so it was a bit of a crazy
yeah,
one.
this was a tight one. This was unlucky for Danny. It's you know, he'll be disappointed with Sam Darnold, 4 interceptions. That's you know, no touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's not what you're looking for from your quarterback. That was a big disappointment.
And Ted Johnson,
You know,
one
Tej
catch.
Johnston, you take the swing, you know, he's another boomer bust, isn't he? You take the swing and it didn't quite work out. Same with Ty Johnson at the Bills, you know. Oh no, that's the tight end,
Theo
Theo
Johnson.
Johnson.
I guess, though, he never got a target until the second half.
No,
Winston,
he
he was
didn't.
open, but Winston was not throwing the ball to him
But you can see where the
until the second
problems
half.
lie there as well. You know, right out there on that screen is
Joku.
where the problems lie. Johnson, Bauer's not doing brilliant in the Joku. That's kind of where this one was lost. You know, it's too many tight ends in the starting lineup, and I get that tight end is, you get premium for tight ends. Get in, fella. I get that you get premium for tight ends, but you know, there's a reason you get premium for tight ends, because not a whole lot of them get overly involved, you know. And when you're starting 4 of them, that's the reason why you're losing tight games. You know, 189 points is very, very, you know, it's playable, it's par, but it wasn't good enough against Graham's Eagles. And of course, that keeps Graham's Eagles well in the hunt as well, you know, at the 5 and 6, as I say, not only for the playoffs, but to get in the top 4 and get into the OrkneyBowl playoffs.
Well, there you go. 141 for the top team because there's Lamar Jackson, 6 points
Yeah.
up against Josh Allen, 58 points. So, yeah.
Jackson's flying though, isn't he? Jackson up
He
at
is.
the top there with his Whitworth Rockstars. He must
He's
be
one of the
getting
series.
quite excited at the moment, because we know how he reacts when he's going well, so he must be getting quite excited, and rightly so. When you've got McBride, when you've got Alan McBride, JSN, I mean, those are 3 players that are
You put in
just
Dortch as well.
absolute elite in their position. Yeah, I mean, Dortch is a kind of fill-in at the moment. You know, you've got to hope
Yeah.
he's got better than that on his bench, because when Harrison comes back, Dortch goes null and void again. You know, but yeah, it's looking very good for Jackson up there at the top, and he's flying and he's scoring massive points at the right time. And Seattle Patriots, 194 points. He just ran into a big one, and there's not much you can do about that. I would be happier as the Seattle Patriots at 6 and 5 than I would be the Manchester Bees at 8 and 5, only scoring 141. You know, but Seattle have obviously got a lot of work to do to get themselves into that top 4. So interesting to
Well,
see
they're
who they've
sitting in
got
fifth
this
at the
week.
moment. So, yes, let's see. I'm guessing there'll be a few very close games this week.
Well, I mean, you're praying for one of the bottom 3, aren't you?
Manchester
That's
Bees.
what you're praying for at this stage.
Not looking like it, but
Yeah, you see,
no.
Harlow Harlequins and Stoke-on Bengals are playing each other there at 3 and 8 and 4 and 7, and that knocks
Yeah.
them out of it, you know. So Dublin Everton Blues could put the final nail in Leeds Lasso's coffin, but you know, and they're looking favourite to do so, and maybe even give themselves a sniff. But yeah, Carrollton Crew and Leicester Tigers down there, it's win or go home there as well. So, and remember that it's not just about. It's not just about making the playoffs here, you know, or getting into that top 4. It's not having the prospect of relegation out the top division as well. You know, you sneak into 6th place and you can't be relegated, and that's just a massive thing, you know. So
Definitely.
big game at the bottom, bigger game at the bottom there, Leicester Tigers and Carlton Crew, in terms of keeping yourself, getting yourself into the top 6 and avoiding a relegation battle.
So you obviously got 6 and 5, 8 and 3, which was a interesting one.
Yeah, Sean needs that win.
Glasgow's
He's been on a bit of a bad run as well as our Sean, so he needs that win. But Whitworth Rockstars, I mean, obviously Josh Allen's been a disappointing start, but JSN's still to come, and he's got a relatively decent game against Tennessee Titans, and McBride's still to come against the Jags. That's a good pickup. I like that pickup this week with Chase out. I do like that Yoshivas pickup. I think quite a lot of people will be doing that this week.
It's not changing the team; they're all on a bye, apart from Douglas.
Yeah, I mean there's 4 teams on bye weeks this week, but that's big for Sean. You know, he's running into them at a good time, and Sean really does need that one to keep up there. And Godalming Goats here at 6 and 5 as well. That's a massive game for them against the Manchester Bees, and as we say, Seattle Patriots. Well, they could kill off Glasgow Eagles if they can find that win and get themselves up there to 7 and 5. It would absolutely kill off Graham and these Glasgow Eagles, which is, you know, what the top 6 want to be doing at the moment.
Yeah, I'll come to that too, because obviously if Leicester Tigers can pull it off, that really would kill the 5s and 6s, I think.
Absolutely, that's the thing. It's the top 4 that you're really looking for first and foremost, you know. So very much down to Glasgow Eagles are very much still in the chase for the top 4. But come next week, there's at least 2 of those teams are going to probably be out of it. So that's how big the games are this week. You know, I would say down to 9th, it'll be down to about 7th maybe next week.
And of course, with Leicester Tigers only scoring 1,900, they need to win because they're not going to beat anybody with points difference.
When you're in the mire, points score matter a heck of a lot, you know. So they need to be winning. You need to get to 8 wins probably if you're the low scorer. You need to get to 8 wins because 7 wins probably won't be enough if you're a low scorer.
Yep. So it's all fun and games and very tight.
Yeah, that's regular. That's the divisions for week 11 now in the bag there, Johnny. As we say, 3 weeks to go. Can't believe it, but they're all, you know, there's so much to play for everyone still. And I believe we are now going to take a look at the cup. We're in the quarterfinals now, aren't we?
We are indeed. So this has got the latest scores. The first leg scores and the second leg scores are at the bottom. So Hancock Citizens are currently 205 against 199 against South London Rebels. So it was 173 to 189 last week. They're up 32 to 10 so far after one game.
Yeah.
Darlington Dragons are 177 against a 265 against the Boiler Cheeseheads. So it's 107. They were quite far down after the first leg. Boiler Egypt. Cheeseheads got 30 points on Thursday night, so they're looking pretty safe, I think. You've got the Kirkwall Chargers 187 against 202 Aberdeen Bucks. Like the Aberdeen Bucks had a 30-point head start on Thursday last week, but it's 30 points to 12 so far this week. So I think it will end up being a close one because they're both high-scoring teams. You've got the Newcastle Colts 183 against 197. Kilmarnock Kings, obviously, Sean had a bad game last week, 173. Derek had 197, so that was a good start. So that's going to be another very, very tight game as well. So it's all to play for.
It's all to play for in them all, really, Johnny. You know, it's you know, Darlington Dragons are a wee bit far behind, but we've seen when we were going through it that they are generally high scorers and they're right up there in the division. So there's no reason they can't have a big week this week. But you know, obviously, Bonnyrigg Cheeseheads with the 30 points on Thursday night, they're looking pretty secure. I would be disappointed if you know, Chris. I'm sure would be disappointed if he doesn't make the semi-finals now. But it's all to play for in every other game. You know, it's as you can see at the top there, Ancoats Citizens and the South London Rebels. That's turned around already. You know, it's on Thursday night, and every other games. You know, even the 157. What's that about? It's only 23 points behind. And Sean's 24 points behind. So that's one player having a good week, you know. So all to play for in the second leg, and to sneak into the semi-finals, you're one win away from the final. So yeah, as I say, I said it last week. This is when I get interested now. So if I'm in here now, I want to know what my other players are. I want to know what the other team's doing. I want to follow it.
I'm loving the fact that obviously, I'm pretty sure I did share a link for the Rousey Cup, and because obviously I will be updating it tomorrow morning with a Monday night game. But I'm loving the fact that we're going to have a third division team in the final, because match 2 plays match 3, and potentially you could have 2 second division teams in the other semi final.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones where it's
a cracker.
It's so tough to get out the group, because only one team gets out the group, and so you got to win so many there, and that's where it can turn around. If you're playing someone that's had a real bad week, then you steal a win, that's great. And if you're playing someone who's knocked out the park and you've scored 240 points, but they've got 260, that can be the difference between not getting out the league and getting out the group stage. So it's so difficult to get out the group stage, and once you do, you've got every shout of getting along. And as you can see, the third division teams going along so well. There could be no first division teams in the final. The cut is that's cup football for you, and long may it continue.
Definitely, it's great because obviously last year we had a Division 4 team in the final, and they got pretty close. So that's I just love this competition. It's so it's so random, it's so hard, and it's.
That's I mean, I've got to say, in all honesty, I don't pay much attention during the group stages. It's not something that I'm looking at, But if I was to sneak through that group, that I would be very interested at that point, But when the group stages are on as well, it's early doors in the league, and you're more interested in your position in the league and looking at getting up that league at the start. It's you're getting up there. But as soon as those knockouts take place, it's I'm interested. I'm in. I want to do well. I want to beat the other team.
And actually, none of us have got to the knockouts yet. So.
Well, let's say, I know hard. That's because it's so bloody difficult.
There's only a third of the league gets through, the whole league. So it's hard to get through. But no, good luck everybody, and good show, Craig. I enjoyed that. Well, my voice was going for a bit there, but you stepped in and gave it the standing, which is always good. I did have another blast of this to get me going to the end. But no, good luck everybody this week. Even Doug, I suppose. Yeah, go ahead, do it.
Yeah, good luck everyone. Don't forget to do your teams. We've seen a few teams that haven't been done yet. Don't forget to get your teams done before 6 o'clock. And
I have messaged them individually, so hopefully they will get there. But I think Dylan, he hasn't picked his teams in all the leagues he's played in. But I think Jack's been trying to get a hold of him because it's one of Jack's pals. So we'll see what happens. Who knows what goes on behind the scenes? Things happen.
I mean, life takes over sometimes, Johnny. And it's I do believe that everyone that's playing in this league, they love the game and they enjoy the league and they enjoy playing in the league, and they're managing it to as much as they can. So life just takes over sometimes, and not everyone's as into it as the rest of us. There are folk in it that will only have one or two teams, and it'll kind of take a backseat precedence at times. So. That's fine, but as long as you always come back to us.
Definitely, yeah. We do have a waiting list, but it'd be nice to keep everybody the same the next year. If not managed it yet.
That's that. I mean, when you've got a league of this size, there's always going to be a little bit of coming and going. There's going to be guys that kind of not interested in playing anymore, and they don't want to play fantasy anymore, etc. So they'll pull out. But as you say, you've got people waiting in the wings. So I don't think we'll ever struggle getting 96 in each and every given year. And obviously, the more that stay, the better.
Definitely, got to get the rivalries going. Well, I am looking forward to the battle between Pez and Ian. That should be fun.
Oh no, the Preston Derby certainly, but the Preston Derby's as big a game as a me versus Doug. I would say that's what it looked like to me from the Pez and Pork show as well. I would say that's
probably bigger actually. We do play each other so often that it's probably bigger. But yeah, good luck everybody, and we'll see you next week. And good luck. Remember, 3 games on Thursday for Thanksgiving.
No, don't forget.
A game on Friday night as well for the Black Friday. And of course, commission here is absolute raging because my first year kid, his parents' evening is on fucking Thursday night. Now you know me, I always take Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off work because I have a whole thing. I have the meal, watch football.
Well, I know you have. I see your picture of your turkey every year. So yeah, that's a bit harsh, Johnny. I'd be phoning the school and making a complaint about that if I were you. I wouldn't be standing for that. I wouldn't be
I had
standing
a dream
for
the
that.
other night. I had the headmaster by the throat saying, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Well, that's exactly where I'd be at. But that's entirely up to you how you want to handle that. But that's how I would be handling that.
No, that was a dream. It wasn't real life. But we have got them booked in as early as possible. So it's 4:30 till 5:45, and we're out the door.
Well,
I'll have the iPad on in the car.
I'm off on Friday. I'm off on Friday, but I'm working on Thursday, and I'll be working till kind of 5:30ish, you know. So the drive back home from St Andrews will have Sky Go on my phone next to my steering wheel. Not that I'm watching it, officer. Honestly, I'm just listening to it through my speakers.
Yeah, well, I'll be taking the iPad, and it'll be on my lap watching it on the way home.
It's the Packers that are up first as well, which is the most annoying thing, you know.
No.
It's the Packers lines that are up first. So they're going to score a touchdown, and I'm going to end up driving off the edge of the Queensferry crossing, no doubt. So yeah, look out for the news on Thursday night.
I might need a co-host next week if Craig drives off the bridge. But anyway, good luck everybody. Just a reminder to set your teams and set your teams next week for the other one, because we'll probably be doing this next Sunday again.
No doubt.
Or Friday if we're not too much. That's later, everyone.
Good luck, everyone. See you next week.